And that's my mom has it as well. And that satchel I got is from another guy that's on the lake that has it. Like I have signs of it. My grandma has signs of it. But these are things when you see, knowing how to calibrate it and stay calibrated enough to balance it is not what our people told us. They didn't teach us
Yeah.
this shit.
They just taught us to think we're crazy if we feel it. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you automatically feel it, you gotta automatically think. You know what I'm saying?
It's knowing how to communicate. Like I know that I am similar to the especially similar to a lot of people with either Asperger's or some type of mental health, right? Because I can be in a random place anywhere, and then people of that same frequency, grown ups that come into a library, one or two of them will come and be gravitated towards me, and we'll have they're speaking their language or dialect, and I'll speak in mine, and we'll meet in the middle, and I can feel the goosebump exchange. Let me know, like, I did what I was supposed to do, but this was before I realized my level of mental health. Like, I was born in the '80s, so like we born in the '80s,
I'm a 90s baby. I
okay,
made it.
and you 80 like at 90,
91.
but still in that, huh?
You was born in
95.
95? 91.
So in that era, that decade, that time from the '80s
Yeah.
to the '90s, they were really attacking our households. They were
Oh,
attacking
yeah.
with all different types of
Yeah.
shots, all different types of war and drugs, shit like that. So that all
Mm-hmm.
those drugs and addictions put us in positions where we didn't know how to handle. Like that's why I told you about the military. I like to see how people handle hostile situations because that lets me know how much they can control themselves, because anything happening outside of yourself is just a projection of how you feel on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
That's why niggas say they from the hood, but then you like off with me in the hood. It's like some hoods I go into, like I know some shit is either just happened or about to happen, so I can feel that shit. Like even when we in a club or partying and shit, like I can tell when the fight about to jump off. I can tell when the fight about to jump off. Like and you can sense it, you can feel it. So it's something. It's similar to like um, where we like having the conversations like that we're having now about our parents. This is healing
Yeah,
on both
for sure.
accords. But that's we that song that you just talked about. It's when people realize lies in your creation and your creative expression, then you just creatively express. This is what we create. You like I said, you watch me learn how to creatively express, and then the level ups of my creative expression. Like my cousin said this shit to me, like, bro, I've seen you level up and level up and level up. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck am I gonna level down? I'm like,
Right.
nigga.
I ain't supposed to be out here just making bullshit.
Nah, but they see babies being made, and like when me talking about my mental health, so I've been making babies since I was a
So you
baby.
still out here fucking.
Uh-huh. Right, like people talking about your privates, your dick, talking about your what you doing. When people are talking about it, that means you're doing something right because they want to talk about more than that, but they can only talk about their level.
Yeah, they only can find something.
Bruh, like when I tell people I'm on number 9 and number 10, like when I was number 7 and number 8, they're like, "Oh, you gonna be done?" No, I'm gonna have 10. So I appreciate you letting me know that you want me to stop because how are you taking care of these babies? Well, that's what I'm doing right now. That's why I'm touring to make sure that they can have access to assets and resources. Like some people go to a job and leave a pension for their child. Like I want to leave an asset, like something that my 5 children or 6 children can have access to. But now I got 10. So what we're doing, like even this one, you see how I put Speak Freely Media Collective? Just say, like with every one of my children's moms, we created something, not just a baby. We created something that they can take. What you just shared, not just with your mom, but also your creative efforts and flow. Like I don't, we can get better at this shit, but right now we're very fucking dope. Like yo, we can get better at it, but right now, like that's how like even my homie Leo Mercer, he performed today. Like he's a dope lyricist and MC, but it's like he's been consistently making art, and you can hear where his heart is, where his mind is, and where his sound is going.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And like that's what I felt in what you just did. You did that right, and in that doing, allowed the set to pop up. You was like, oh, I'm a movie. Yes, you are.
Shit.
Yes, you are. Yes, we are. We the movie.
Yeah, honestly, no. I was watching you while you were sitting there just speaking. Like that tattoo on Ma, like that's so fucking iconic.
That's one of the brands.
Yes,
on mine.
yes. Just seeing the authenticity of the space and the freeness of your expression in it. That was, you said that was the first one was the first time that you recorded before.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking crazy. Like I would have never guessed that. I would have never guessed
it. Real nervous, just trying to. But that's when I'm having to realize, like you said, even in your whatever you think ain't good enough, shit, you doing better than most.
It's the greatest.
You coming with the dopeness.
Yes, no doubt. And that ties into what you were saying. It's like we could always be better, but right now, like this comes back into
that's what I was saying. What you just saying about that? That shit true.
Right. Because at the end of the day, like this now moment is our version of doing our best.
Yeah.
And us doing our best is really fucking dope.
We
This
just
is our
said
fucking
it don't
best.
get no better than this.
Right. Why would we want to be able to see the full fruitness of what our best in totality looks like right now? It would take all the fun out.
Right.
If we want to see how far we can go.
The journey is the fun. That's the fun.
The journey is the fucking. That's the mission.
I'm saying the journey is the fun. You want to end. Then when you end, what do? Begin again to the next journey.
That's it. And that's the ultimateness of like. In 2014 is when. Great job, by the way. 2014 is when like we got the vision on touring, around. So imagine having this vision about meeting people like y'all, right? And then like traveling around, creating content, products, and services, talking about spirituality. At this time, talking about Jesus Christ because I was with my Christian wife, Denise, and like this vision. And I tell my brother and I tell my cousin, and I'm like, I'm trying to do this now vision in 2014 without creating the space for it. Like, yo, I'm like, yo, we making 6 figures, we doing this, we doing that. Yo, I'm hollering at all these people, like, cause by 2014, I had already developed like a buzz. Like I was already in 100+ countries. Like people knew, like people was quoting us, and I was like, all right, this is the next step. But like doing that without having an effective team, my brother was in between his mental health thing. He was helping, but he still was doing his modeling shit. My wife was working a regular job, 8 to 10 hours a day, and she just had her first child, and like that was our team, and we were pulling everybody else together, similar to the Magnetic Minds, but like we didn't have the funds, we didn't have the assets and resources besides our funds and assets and resources. So we're letting everybody know, let's come together, create some products, and let's earn some money together. You like, that's the brand. Everybody should have a brand where we can make some shit together. Right. And like they didn't read the fine print. Like niggas thought I was just gonna be flying them from the UK. And it was this young lady. Shout out to you, Halima. Like this is my first run-in with a bruja. And this is a bruja that like I listened to her story. She had been engaged with sexually early on in her life. Most of the people that come through my frequency has experienced some type of trauma early on in life. And like, that's because I had it. So, and like, I'm just being me. She was like one of the people that misunderstood the fine print. And I was like, she caused a coup between all the other masculine vibrations. And everybody was feeling the same thing she was feeling. I'm like, bro, I'm taking y'all. She's in the UK. Y'all niggas that's over here, you are in my wife's car. We're taking you to places. We're doing shit to raise money. We're selling your products. But these motherfuckers took on her energy and like caused chaos, massive amounts of chaos on my first leg. And that's what not having enough space does. That was my first time running in with like spiritual leaders that like she caused the hex. That shit was ugly, interesting, exciting, dope as fuck. But like it let me know the vibrations that I can have around me. Like my wife didn't know how to handle that shit. Like because she was on that good old Christian shit, good old girl. Like right now it's like I bring that story up and because it was very interesting in my life because it's like I have a bunch of these engagements with dope individuals, and like I told you, we just had a dope, interesting world with Mahatma, and like these are people that, yo, Terry died while I was on tour with Mahatma, so it's like I have these vibrations that are still building off of our frequencies and energies, but don't give a fuck about us. Like, like I said, and even when I put this meta on, like I'm not a fan of it, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
It's fucking necessary because these stories that I'm having, these engagements that we're having, like no one else can remake these shit. Like they can't remake them. I told you, I got Tesla here. Like Tesla showing me pictures in my algorithm now. We got Geronimo. Like I told you in Cherokee, like you bringing out that little drum. I didn't see a drum like that until Erica Badu just did that shit a couple days ago, going in doing her Erica Badu magic. So then when you bring that drum, there, I'm like, yep, we right where we supposed to be. We right where we supposed to be, and it's like I feel not just safe, but I feel like even with the drinking of the spirits, I feel aligned enough to release and to create and to discuss shit that like hurt. Like that shit hurt in the beginning when you ain't have enough room and motherfuckers say they down for it, but you don't know about my brother made the contract. I don't do contract work, nigga. I'm dyslexic. Like fuck out of here. But like I had my team, and even at this time, me and my brother was going at it. So that Halima shit was that's spilling over from my mom and my brother. Like I'm beefing with my mom while I'm going through my own shit, trying to make something for her so that don't have to deal with fibromyalgia, and so that my family don't have to struggle. So it's just like I'm glad for those moments. They was dark as fuck, but like I wouldn't be right here if I didn't have those moments to be able to see what an on my looks like, and even with an E. I get to see different parts of E manager here, which is pretty dope because I get to hear different sounds, I get to hear different stories, I get to hear her speak up for herself, I get to hear her chill and observe. Like when someone has my child inside of them, I get real nosy with them. Yeah, I get real nosy with them, and in that, in return, like we get to have some very growthful moments, So it's just like I appreciate y'all holding that space for that story. I haven't shared that in a while, but like that goes to shows how powerful people are. She never met none of these niggas in the physical, but her sauce was powerful enough to be able to move three of my leaders, including my brother. So it's just like, man, it's cool. That's why it's so intentional with grandma. Was it good?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You on camera again, grandma?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we drinking on? We'll drink. For a toast.
I want no more.
You said she
Okay,
wanted no
well,
more.
let me let you on that thing then.
Did you drink it all, grandma?
Yeah.
Yeah, she threw it back like it was a.
Well, I'm gonna throw mine back.
Hey.
Here's the granny.
Here's the granny. Can we hear your track again and get that? And also, have you released that? Those
I
tracks
put
that was here?
the second one is on SoundCloud. The first one, I just got it in my phone. I haven't put it on anything.
Why not?
Well, because we didn't never finish the project, but I might still put it on there anyway. You know,
Right.
see what's popping.
Are
Hey.
you making an album or mixtape?
Whatever the spirit tells me. Whatever the spirit tells me to do.
Dollar.
That's open as fuck.
Oh, no,
I'm saying, like, that's why I said sometimes that's why I can enjoy people who got a game plan and got a vision, because it helps me bring a little bit of my vision to what I'm into. Me, I'm just whatever the wind tell me to do, whatever it tell me to say, whatever it tell me to say type shit. And then I see people with intention, and I see people who, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's always good and healthy, because it's a vibration for me too. Like to see y'all have a vision of what you want to impact the world. Like I just want to impact the world by trying to be the most me as I can be, or the most authentic I can to just give freely what I am. That's why I say I always pray to turn myself inside out because I want to be what I am.
You said trying again.
I want to give you what I am.
So,
I don't want to hide no aspects of myself. I don't want me to say nothing to you and you have any question in your mind as to what the intentions of the meeting was. It's what I gave you.
it's what I
But now
gave
I'm
you.
starting to learn that motherfuckers gonna try to twist that because they can't comprehend.
They can't
It's something
comprehend.
being given freely.
Yeah.
They like, oh, it come at a cost, so this motherfucker wants something out of me.
But that's the capitalist mindset. Are you connected to the speaker?
I don't even know what a speaker is.
It's right there. It's behind you.
Oh.
It's setting up with the camera.
Oh, I didn't know we was being viewed on two angles.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Hey, how? Hey, baby, looking at my rubber pump.
All that AS in track pants.
Yo, I don't even know what kind of pants these are. They ain't really track pants,
No.
but I
Very
like this.
comfortable looking.
Exactly. I ain't gonna lie. I can boogaloo in these.
That looks really comfortable.
How are y'all doing?
Oh, we good.
How are y'all doing? Y'all, 1,440 minutes. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you ain't happy with what you is, goddamn it. Motherfuckers gotta learn to be content with where they are. Like you said, it's now is the now is now. Like,
Right.
you can't be trying to attain to the I want to be better one day. Damn, be what you is today, and then work today to be better tomorrow. You put the work in today, you will be better.
Right, because if you have faith in yourself, and you're ultimately desiring to seek self, and you have goals and you have manifestations that you know that you bring to the space and to the world, like you're naturally going to be brought up with the challenges and the lessons that are necessary for you to continue seeking them. You don't have to be upset about where you're at in that moment in time because you know it's still on the path.
But figuring out where you think you ought to be.
Right, and that's the positive, negative, and neutral. Like if you're in a shitty place, it's like I'm in a fucking shitty place right now, and that's part of it, bitch.
Right. Like, me gonna just enjoy the whiff of this shit.
Right. Just
Fucking chill out for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Because that makes me think of something that you were saying earlier about how can you possibly know joy if you don't know suffering?
So if you want to be joyful, you got to suffer.
You have to.
You got to.
You have
Ain't no way around it.
Right.
If you want
Because
to.
if you want to know that, you got to know the other one so you can be joyful.
Something that we talk about a lot is the intentionality of sacrifice. How blood
We
ritual.
was speaking of sacrifice on our way. I was like, people got to realize sacrifice ain't sacrifice. It's a choice
Right.
to make with a compromise of something you love. I didn't sacrifice my life for this child.
Right.
I chose to have a child, so I chose to nurture it.
Pretty fast.
So what I chose to do in the time of nurturing that child ain't a sacrifice to whoever the fuck I thought I ought to be in.
Right, because sacrifice, that terminology in and of itself implies that there has to be
Exactly. Giving up something.
right. And
Something
being
has
able,
to be done.
like it just ultimately even like thinking about things from the external versus the internal. Sacrifice implies an external kind of like you let yourself lose a something.
It's like I'm always giving. I sacrificed my life to take care of my child.
Right.
No,
Versus
That kind of sounds like I'm over here as the child. Like, why did you have me?
Victor,
What?
what's it called? Victim, self
Give me
victimization.
up if you're thinking that you gotta sacrifice everything you about for the sake of me. Like,
Sacrifice got
That's
the
that
victim
tolerance.
mindset behind it.
It is.
yeah. So when you say that word, you basically making it seem like you got to do that regardless of whatever it is you want to do. You can do what you want to do. If you don't want to raise a damn child and give it up, give it up.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want to be looked at like a foot. You don't want to be looked at as a bad person.
You don't want to be looked at, that part.
You don't want to be
wanna
looked at. But now you grew up. I'm saying now you raised a child that you always claim you sacrificed for. That child feel that resentment in you as they grow up. So regardless if you try to get them all the support you can and love them as a parent, did you love them as a parent, not as yourself?
Right. Not as an extension of
I'm
yourself.
saying you didn't love them as yourself. You only loved them because you were their parent.
Right.
That ain't given.
That ain't given.
I'm saying you didn't give them nothing that they could have did without. You could have gave them up. I'm saying at that point, if you felt like you had to sacrifice for everything that they are, then you could have just gave them. You chose to love them in spite of whatever it is that you thought you ought to be doing. That's the same thing with this abortion shit. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Like, my body, my choice. I'd be like, bitch, the government made abortion. So if they chose to take it off the goddamn table, it ain't an option for real. I'm saying this is an option that was presented to you. The option wasn't there before the option. Like,
well, indigenous peoples have been having, there's medicines that you can take in order to abort a child.
Right, indigenous. We been doing it. We've been going to the abortion clinic and going to the people who told us how we can get abortion. Right? You know what I'm saying? You ain't had no indigenous people showing you how to, you know what I'm saying, when it ain't the time to have this child, or this child got some kind of illness in it.
The people in the hood use the hanger.
Shit like that.
Use the hanger. Go ahead. What you about to say?
What they doing with the hanger?
No, some people in we said we didn't have the indigenous. We had people that the abortion clinic, before there was the clinics was available, people used the hanger to scrape it out. Like they were the people that used medicine women and shit like that. Like that may not have been indigenous, playing both sides of the road and see ways of getting money. And most of the women, those abortions did something to them, fucked them up so that they couldn't have babies in when they wanted to.
Yeah, sterile and shit.
Or they got infection and died. So it's like the whole Roe versus Wade, me personally, is like, it's just a distraction of a broken
That's
system.
what I said. Yeah, they just try to come up with more and more shit because you was just pumping abortion and this and that and do what you need. You know what I'm saying? Yo right, yo will. But now they see that that's genetics. White people made abortion black people because they wanted less black people being born. Well, so Margaret Sanger, I'm saying the whole parent planhood. That's why in the ghetto, you can go get birth control for fucking free.
Yes. You
can go get on birth control anytime you want. That's why it's free to do that.
Oh, it's an interesting
But now it's going against them because they own people taking too much of an advantage of it, and now your race is at an all-time deterioration. So now they gotta say, "Oh, we ain't gonna let people get abortions no more."
Well, and I think it's also it's always down to the intentionality, right? It's like because the intention of what abortion is, or the intentional releasing of a child before it's meant to come to term on its own by your choice, that has existed. That's a thing that has existed. It's just the intention around
since how long?
But indigenous peoples for a long time, there's medicines for it. There are medicines that, and I know this because I didn't take any medicine myself.
But I think in the indigenous realm, just me speaking from just knowing what I know, indigenous realm, they didn't never get rid of a baby because they didn't want the baby.
Well, but
a lot of the time there was something wrong with these fetuses. There was something harming the mother. The pregnancy itself wasn't right. That's just like when a fucking wild animal have a sick baby. They'll kill it. They'll kill the sick baby sometimes because the baby can't survive in this world.
And that comes back to the intentionality.
But that's the indigenous, yeah.
because the intentionality behind what Roe versus Wade right now is based on colonization. And obviously, there's some fucking shit, like a distraction for sure. Because if someone, if someone really is gonna do that shit, they're gonna do that shit regardless of whether.
It's a distraction for sure.
Yeah,
that's all it literally is. Just like the whole race thing in this country right now. They try to make it seem like everybody going against each other, black against white. Black lives matter, blue lives matter. They only make this shit a thing, though. They make this shit a thing to try to make us believe that we really in disaccord. We really in accordance. People actually coming together and shit more than they ever have. But now you getting on the media and point out these little blind spots, these spots.
That's why the fuck
that
we're
you can
making
make a big deal out of. Yeah.
That's why we're making our own.
That's why I be like, folks be like, Black lives matter, blue lives matter. Don't say, I be like, look, when people say Black lives matter, you know what the fuck they talking about. They ain't saying don't nobody else life matter. We saying that it's time for you to stop doing that unjust bullshit that you're doing. And have a fucking heart. Like I'm saying, no one.
Like the fuck shit.
Why is this even an argument? The racism shit. Why are people begging to be treated with some fucking self-respect and some decency?
We were talking about like, what if walking up to white people with the camera and be like, so why do Black Lives matter?
Why does Black Lives
Why do they matter? Why does that like? Why is that like?
Because these people
don't
that
put them on that spot. They don't know why they don't fucking life matter.
But that's the questions that need to be asked.
These are the things, and I said that because like the people that have it in their stores. I see you have a store or something in their yard.
Because now it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick.
But catching those. So what's happening now with like faces, like he has tons of faces, bro. And because the way I capture content, I operate in in-between spaces. So, like, instead of her being a perfect picture of a smile, it's in between a funny face and a smile. So it's like
I always catch you right in the middle.
But those faces are the transitions of our emotions or spirits in and out of our body. So it's a form of
it's this face they always be like, you make that face. I be like, when I make the face, I don't know what it means, but you do.
Yeah.
Whatever fucking interpretation you take, when I do this,
whatever you feel,
you know that you fucked up, or you know whatever you did. I can't.
My grandma gave me the like.
I'm just saying, when you give them,
you already know.
Like how you said earlier, you like that face you just did. When I was like, I give them what they need.
That shit was funny as hell because I read the face and the sound more than the words.
That's why I said the face for you. You know what it means more than I do. Whatever kind of bullshit you want, you know that you want it.
Face for you, my G.
You know that you want that bullshit.
You know you want it, man.
I ain't gonna lie, when I wear these pants, I feel like Bruce Lee. I feel like I got the short torso with the long legs. And I was like, damn, all dope people got a fucking short torso. Cool ass motherfuckers. They always got the shirt tucked in with the short torso and the long legs.
You're funny.
That's so funny. Long leg shit. Long leg, short torso shit.
Bruce Lee. Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
Yeah, he's a cool motherfucker.
There's some dope.
See, like, I got people with, like, one of my things. I don't trust men with only mustaches above their lips. Most of them are fucking pedophiles. Think about it. Rapists, serial killers. They beat women. Most of the men you know that's in that space only got this top fucking lip shit. The only way you can rock this if you a real alpha male and you assertive in your alphaness. Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris. I'm saying the dude from Chips. You can wear this if you a alpha male.
There's a dope ass reflection in the Bay Area called Sir Michael Wayne.
Yes.
He's a super dope.
He got a mustache.
He has
only a mustache.
Only a mustache,
but see, he's super dope.
He's Mad Hatter.
Yeah, he's the Mad Hatter. He's like he is.
But I'm saying that's the alpha male who knows how to exert himself and his energy. So it's a difference. It's like that you run into that less. Now most of them you run across with just top lip shit. Think about all the people me and you done knew that been abusers or pedophiles and shit. What's the one thing they got in common? A fucking mustache.
They got glasses too.
Look up serial killers. They all got a fucking mustache above their fucking lip. So when I see a man like that, off top, I kind of give him a little bit of judgment. Like, I don't even know if I need to trust you, motherfucker. Let me see how you is in your energy.
That's such an interesting, like, and then when we talk about breaking the matrix, right? Like, so let's say.
But they talk about all type of stuff like that. They get a characteristics of these people that's kind of like Medusa. That's one of I love. That's why my name on Instagram is Tyler Lee Deuce. Yeah, my middle name Leanne. Country girl. Tyler Leanne.
Well, because we talk about breaking the matrix a lot and like being non-conforming on the gender spectrum. It allows more space to be like, yeah, like I'm masculine as fuck. I love my masculine shit. That makes me able to do more masculine shit and be in my space as a masculine vibration, which breaks the matrix. And even thinking about like, I just think about the different ways in which people can use different stereotypes to break through shit. Like I think about that shit all the time. How can I move the way that I am and break
and
things?
change your people? Those stereotypes change your people. Like how they be like, black folks love watermelon. You two bitches very nutritious. Like I'm saying, you need to love some fucking watermelon.
Water intake.
And it's got dope ass economic history.
That's what I'm saying. Hell, watermelon when you red, that shit was white and bitter at the beginning. They done crossbreeded this motherfucker for 1,000 years to make a perfect watermelon.
Wasn't watermelon one of the founding crops too that built up Black Wall Street?
I'm saying all the water in it. I'm saying in indigenous cultures. I done read back to indigenous cultures that was. I said they always try to tell you black people love watermelon. You supposed to love watermelon. Now they making you get off the source of the connection. You know what I'm saying? They making you not eat it because you don't want to fit into a stereotype.
That's one of the most alkaline things there is.
I don't want to eat watermelon because you know they think we love watermelon. Bitch, I love watermelon.
Yeah, so it's this guy that posts on when people like fall and his voice goes into this automation like, ooh, yeah, you don't look that, you don't like that. So you just
I always think about people like that when I always explain people. I go, look at me,
yeah, so your ability to go into character, right? When you're telling the story, like so we brought up Sir Michael Williams, right? Like he has a one-man show where he takes you on a journey in his life, and he plays these different characters, and he transitions. It was the most expressive, like dope shit ever, and we got to be a part of the manifestation of it. So like. Yeah, so but you are that as well. Like when you go from story, we are that. When we go from story to story, like I went to the supermarket and like I sparked up that whole ass supermarket, bro. Like the new owners didn't know how to engage with me. They wanted to help me, but like you know how like when white people look at, they want to. He's like, how's the weather down there? Like, they just saying random shit.
Right, you see it. That's why I said it's cute to an extent. Like, I'm like, it's really cute.
But when you can, but that's where the people like Ashton Kutcher and Jackass, they took those moments, bring it back to what he was talking about. Like, it's entertainment to ask somebody. I really want to know.
You brought that up. I was thinking about that earlier today. When I was a teenager, me and my neighbors, my friends and shit, we made a fucking... I wish to this day I could have that video. We made a video called Dumbass. And we were just with one of these old camcorders, motherfucker. We was like, 2004, goddamn, one of these. And we literally was just doing stunts around our neighborhood. Like, we all used to skateboard a little bit. I used to skateboard a little bit. And we used to, like,